I found this village not too far from my base, but I'm too lazy to walk here still, so I'm gonna link this village and my home base using nether portals. So we're gonna go to the nether, and now we can head up to the nether roof. Let's build the ladders up and see if this works. So the villager portal is supposed to be in this direction somewhere, right here, and this should take us right into the village. Alright, we're in the village. So now that we're done with that, we can finally start building the village. So I want to build a circular wall around this area, and I want this village right here to take up only 1/4 of the circle. So I built out 125 blocks. Now I just need to start building the circle. Okay, so we have 1/4 of the area done. Now I have to do the rest of the circle. Okay, and just like that, we finished the circle. Wait, are there any villagers here? I hear them, but I don't see them. This is a little concerning. They're not in this cave, are they? Of course they are. How did you guys all get down here? I'm not gonna question it. You guys are free to go. Whoa, single file guys. I know you're excited, but come on. Did he just fall back in? I need mending, so I'm gonna offer you a job. Alright, this is your job now. So can you be my librarian? I guess I'll keep breaking and placing this lectern until this guy gives me what I want. Oh, this was his idea. Okay, finally. It actually didn't take me as long as I thought, and I don't have a lot of sugarcane on me. This is all the paper I can give you right now. I guess the next thing I can do is flatten the area around, because yeah, it seems pretty dangerous around here. So as we're covering up most of the holes and cutting down all the trees, I want to start building. So we have mending on one of my tools, but I would like to get mending on all of my tools. So I'm going to need more paper to trade with the librarian villager. So I'm going to start my cartography house slash sugarcane farm now. So we'll take down this villager house and start building the building that our sugarcane farm is going to be in. So this building is going to be dedicated to the cartographer villager, and the normal building isn't really that special, so I'm going to go ahead and create one of my own, and of course put a sugarcane farm inside of it. So add some more details on the front with some upside down stairs, some walls, and some buttons. And since we are in an oak village biome, I want to create all of my buildings out of stone or oak wood. We'll make this part of the roof over the sugarcane farm a little narrow, fill it in with oak wood plank slabs, add some more detailing to the outside. And this is looking pretty good. Now I'm going to start digging out the area for my sugarcane farm. We need some water to place the sugarcane down, one layer of blocks above that, put the pistons down, place our daylight sensor, fill the top up with redstone, and just like that, we have a sugarcane farm. Well, almost. I'm going to dig underneath it and use a minecart hopper to pick up the sugarcane that gets dropped. I'll place the railings down, and after coming back and forth under the sugarcane farm, we've gotten to the point where I can make a redstone contraption that will automatically export all of the items outside the minecart hopper. And just like that, I can get my sugarcane automatically through this chest. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on a basic farm while my sugarcane is growing, because I want to start getting crops so I can trade for emeralds with a farmer villager. And just like that, we have a basic farm. So now that I have some sugarcane and some crops to trade with villagers, I actually need the villagers now. I dug an area underneath the village and built a villager breeder and built a zombie converter. We'll get to what this does later. Everyone in the village is dead, but luckily there are 2 villagers in the nether, so I need to build them back and put them in the breeder. So now that I have a villager breeder going, I want to start building my automatic crop farm, because it's going to take a lot of crops for this villager breeder to work. And just like last episode, the pillagers are back to bother me again. I dug a big area out for the farm, but I might need to dig a little bit more later, but for now this should hold a few of the layers that we need. So what this is going to look like is each layer is going to have 5 villagers, 1 villager in the middle trying to take the crops from the 4 farmer villagers that it's surrounded by in each corner, but the crops are instead going to go into the hoppers in the middle. That will then funnel into a chest for me to collect. I'm going to build 4 layers. The top one will be wheat, then potatoes, then carrots, then beetroot. I could trade these crops to villagers for very cheap once I cure zombie villagers, but unfortunately, to make any potion in the game, you need blaze powder, which requires me to find another fortress. So I went below and found one, so now all I need to do is kill blazes, run back, and we can make potions now. Okay, it's getting nighttime, and now is the perfect opportunity to get a zombie to put into our villager converter. This is not fun. Alright, come on zombie, come on in. So now that he's in there, we have to give him a name, and what better name to give him than Freddy? Freddy the zombie. Oh, you're not Freddy. So I want a place to put my librarians, and I want to house my librarian villagers in a library, and I think the library will be located right on this corner here. We'll start with the easy part and lay out an area between the crop farm. This right here can be where the front door is. We'll line the bottom with stone bricks, put some walls on the front like this, then we can make the walls out of stone. Now we can come up with a roof shape similar to that one, maybe something of that size, maybe a little smaller, we'll see. So I want this library to actually look nice, so instead of using the oak wood planks as the floor, I want to use stripped oak wood logs, which in my opinion look way better than planks. So we can try to come up with a layout to figure out how we want this library to look on the inside. So we'll test this out and see if it looks good. Build up the wood columns now, add some fencing for details. Alright, our roof is done now, so now we can go check out and see what it looks like on the inside. Alright, it's nice and dark like I wanted, which is great. Now we just gotta finish off the walls up here. So I'm filling these walls up with bookshelves right now. We'll put down some stairs and slabs to emulate a shelf, run some oak wood log crossbeams up here, and I think this will make it look even better. Alright, and that's the interior of this library done. I'll adjust the lighting and add a little bit more details, but right now we need to get started on the storage for our villagers. The goal of this library is to get every single enchantment trade max level from villager librarians, and a lot of that will be underground. So I dug out an area underneath where I just built the library, and in this area is where I want the villagers to be. And these 3 villagers will be the ones I will be trading the crops to, so let's cure them and push them where they need to go. So as we can see, the farmer villagers are working and planting what they're supposed to, so now we have very cheap emeralds. So now we can start pushing our librarians into place, and these are going to be the ones that I will trade my emeralds to get enchants. And the first one I want to get is mending. The villager that had mending earlier, our next book we're going to get is Silk Touch and Sharpness 4. I'm going to make it look a little bit better down here by lining the top with some stone bricks, add some oak wood slabs as well, dig up the roof and replace it with some oak wood planks and oak wood plank slabs, add some lanterns, replace the floor with some of those stripped oak wood logs, and our basement looks pretty good. I got another villager enchantment and it's Smite 5. Remember, I eventually want every enchant at max level in this library, so even Smite 5. Got a fire aspect too. Alright, we're making pretty good progress. We've been getting a lot of crops in our hoppers, so now it's time to give these crops a place to go. I want to set up a storage silo system, and it looks like there's a cave down here that has a lot of mobs in it. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, it's time to resume what we were doing. I made a really good pick with Fortune 3 on it with a combination of enchanting and the books I got from the villagers, so I can go mine quartz later for the blocks I'm going to need for the crop storage. So let me dig out an area down here. For the storage silos, there's going to be a redstone lamp indicator, which is going to tell me how full my storage is for each crop. So I'm going to build the wall where the redstone lamps are going to be in, put some of the chests down with some hoppers on the back of them, and just keep stacking up. And I just realized I'm out of glowstone for the redstone lamps, so I'm going to need to go to the nether. Alright, and after I got the glowstone, we can finally put these in, and on the back side I can add the item filters, and the storage should be done. So we already have the librarian and cartographer buildings built, so now it's time to build the farmhouse for the farmer villager. So I'm going to start with running some stone bricks, adding stone walls, building up the 4 corners with some oak wood logs, using some oak wood stairs as the roof, and I think we're going to go with a regular triangle shape. We can add a window on top, add a small porch in the front, and just because we can, add a chimney on the top, and with a little bit more detailing, the farmhouse is pretty much done. So we built 3 of the villager houses already, and before I go back to detail them and build the rest of the villager houses, I want to get a wall built, because I want to start breeding more villagers and populating the village, but I don't feel comfortable with that without protection from the zombies. So I'm gonna make most of the wall out of oak wood logs, which requires a ton of trees, so I built a small tree farm, and I want the terrain around the village to be somewhat flat, which means I need to take down this mountain. Yeah, that took a very long time. I have an idea. Oh, that was close. And now I have a beacon, so I'm going to trade for a lot of emeralds to make emerald blocks to use for my beacon, and now I have a haste 2 beacon. Yep, this is better. And now we can get back to detailing the wall. On top of the stripped oak wood logs, I want to add some details, starting with the cobblestone on the base, some upside down cobblestone stairs on top of that with cobblestone walls all the way to the top, and around the upper middle of the wall I want to add some oak wood stairs, and on the top I want to add some oak wood slabs, and I'm going to do that all the way around. And and I think this is looking great so far. So I think it's time to take down this old farm here and move it over to where the farmhouse is. And we're gonna go with the same fence design we had at the other location, follow it all the way around, add some wood slabs on top until it looks like this. The next building I want to build is the Fletcher, so I want to lay out the building right here. I think that might be an appropriate size for the building itself. I also want mine a little outdoor area, so this bottom layer here will be made out of stone bricks. And I think for this house, I'm going to be making the walls out of some stripped oak wood logs. I'm going to add some stone to the outer part of the Fletcher building, and just like everything else, I'm going to build up some oak wood logs on the corners. And for this building, I want to make the edges of the roof out of stone bricks in a triangular shape, and then on the top we can run some stone brick slabs, and in the middle we can do some stone stairs. For the sides we can run a stone brick slab layer here and fill in this part of the wall with some stone. And now the main part of the Fletcher is pretty much complete. Now for the smaller outdoor area, I want to add a roof over this as well, and this one can be made out of slabs. I see pillagers on the edge of my screen. I'm just gonna keep building and pretend I don't see them. And I think this area looks pretty good now. Oh, my golem is attacking the pillagers. Did he win? Good job, Golem. So I used some of the wheat from my farm to craft these two targets. I think it fits the theme of the Fletcher building, and I think that's a good building for our Fletcher. The next building I'm going to make is for our shepherd villager. So we'll build out the base, and I want most of the walls here to be made out of wool. Build up the walls, and for the roof, we're going to go with some stone bricks, and I want this roof to be a little taller. We'll add some windows, a door, and our shepherd is done. The next building I want to make is a barn to house all of the animals that we'll need, and I want this to be pretty open. So I'll start with a bunch of oak wood logs, and each one of these oak wood logs is going to have a wooden support for the roof, and I want this whole entire roof to be one big triangle that goes over the entire thing. We'll put some oak log supports for the roof underneath, and I think that was pretty easy. And that barn will go right along with our butcher. So we'll make our butcher house look similar to the other houses that we've built, except I want to give this guy a smoker with a chimney, some stone floors, and we'll give him a flat roof made out of wood and stone bricks. Place the smoker down, and just like that, we have our shepherd, barn, and butcher all built in one area. So our last building for the area with the animals will be our leather worker. Build this base out of stone brick, and we'll actually give half this building wood walls and the other half stone walls. I think this will make this building a little different from the others. As for the roof, again, we'll go with some stone brick and wood planks. And on the half of the building with the stone wall, we're going to do a more flat roof made out of slabs and stairs. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So we'll give him the stone floor, place his cauldron. As I'm going back and forth between my home base and the village, I'm getting really tired of walking. So I found this ice spice biome that I'm mining, and I'm going to create a path to ride my boat on all the way from my home portal to the villager portal. Finish it off with some glass panes on the side so I don't fall off. This is so much better than running. Remember my farmer villager house? Yeah, I still need to make a farm for it, so this makes a little bit more sense. I just need to get a bunch of crops together to actually plant, and I don't have that right now. So speaking of crops, I want to put together a melon and pumpkin farm, so I'm going to place some tracks down. These are going to be used for a minecart hopper, which is going to pick up the item. So now that we have both of our minecart unloading systems and tracks down, we can start building the farm itself now. So this pretty much works by observers detecting melons and pumpkins growing, then activating the pistons around it, therefore breaking the pumpkin or melon. The item drops and then gets picked up by the minecart hopper and placed in my chest. But we're not done. We still have to make this farm look pretty nice, so we're gonna blend it in with the environment around it by building a bunch of stone bricks and oak wood around it. Yeah, I think that fits in pretty okay. We're gonna start working on the middle area, and in the middle there will be a pretty big tower right at the center of the village. You'll have to wait and see what goes inside that tower. You'll have to wait for the end, but I think this whole area will look good made out of stone for now. The next building I want to build is going to be over by our library, and it's going to be a small church for our cleric. So I'm going to build the stone brick base in the shape like this. This is going to be a lot of stone in this build. We'll start with a long oak wood roof. For this church, I want to have a tower on it, and I'll make it out of stone, and at the top of this tower I want to put a bell. I'll cut out some openings, add some windows because I want a lot of natural light, put in the stone floor, add the seats seats, place down the brewing stand, and our cleric is done. The next building we're going to build consists of 2 villagers, and they are going to be the toolsmith and the weaponsmith. And I want this building to be pretty big. We're going to give them the exact same amount of space right next to each other, and inside of these houses, I want to make a lava farm. I really want a lava farm somewhere in this village, and I'm really just trying to look for a place to put it. Add the stone brick stairs as the roof, and unlike some of the other buildings, I want to make the roof here out of stone stairs. So both the toolsmith and weaponsmith have a place to call home. Right across this path here, I'm going to start building the place for the armorer. So we'll do pretty much the same thing in terms of building materials. We'll do a lot of stone walls, stone roof, give him a couple of windows, and the armorer is done. So we've been knocking out a lot of villager buildings lately, so I think it's time to do something a little different. There's a big open area over here, and I want to dig out a hole to fill up water with so I can build a place for my fisherman villager, because you can't have a fisherman villager without water. The next building I want to build is for the mason villager. First, we got to build the exterior. I'm going to go with something different for this. I'm actually going to use cobblestone, and I'll add a chimney to the side made out of bricks. Down here in this basement, I want to create both a cobblestone generator and a stone generator. So we'll get some lava, place our lava down, and just like that, it was really easy. So now we're done with the mason villager building. I want to build an iron farm. So we'll clear out an area for it, move the villagers, build the farm, fence it off, and we should be getting a pretty decent amount of iron now. The next villager we're going to build is the fisherman villager. So our walls are actually going to be made out of a lot of stripped oak wood logs, a lot of windows to let in natural light. We'll fill in the roof with oak wood, and inside of this I want to build an automatic fish farm, and right outside the door I want to build a little pier so we can fish off of. And the fish farm and the fisherman building are all done. Placing a lot of lanterns around so mobs don't spawn and kill all of my villagers. And along the paths I want to build some bushes and fences, but I'm going to make it pretty worn down and overgrown. And I'll do the same thing with the path by adding some coarse dirt and some oak wood to make the path seem worn as well. I still want to add a few more bonus houses just to kind of fill it in. These are going to be just generic village houses with nothing special with them, so I'm just going to build them real quick. And yeah, that was a lot of building. The last thing we're going to be doing here is building a giant tower in the middle of the village, and inside of it will be our nether portals, our access to the basement, and a surprise that we're going to have to wait and see. So we'll start with the surrounding areas by placing some water in there, place down some fences around so I don't fall in, place some lanterns around so mobs won't spawn, and I'm actually going to convert 2 of these water pools into green spaces. Let's start on the tower. So I think we're going to build 5 blocks up with these oak wood logs, build some wood across, add some slabs in the corners and all the way across the top, a couple of fences in the corners, add another log in the middle like that, and on the sides of the tower I want to create a small roof that is going to be triangular in shape, and in the middle I want to have some stone bricks kind of like that, and this right here will mark the center of the tower. But before we tower that up, we gotta make this look a little bit nicer. So we can extend this roof to come together in the middle like so, and extend this tower down so it covers this spot right here. Add some fencing in the corner like that. Okay, and now that's the bottom part done. Now we're gonna build up this tower, and I want this to be pretty tall. This is gonna be pretty noticeable around the whole entire village, and it should look really cool at the end. So on the way up, I'm gonna be adding some windows, kind of like those. We added 2 sets of windows, and I think that should be enough for now. And where the next set of windows should be, I'm gonna add a couple of stone brick walls. I feel very nervous about building this high. Remember, I still haven't been to the end yet, and I don't have an elytra to save me. On the top here, I want to create an area where I can walk around in. So this area will actually be a little bit bigger than the tower itself. And we're going to build some stairs. And where the fence was, I'm going to fill this hole with some oak wood logs. And I'm going to fill in this area with stone just so I have room to walk around, and add some fencing for some protection. And from here, I'm going to build up 3 blocks and fill in this area with stone as well. And in this area, I'm I'm gonna start the roof of the entire tower. So we're gonna start with a couple of stairs like this, with some slabs like that. I'm gonna extend the roof up a little bit up here and add some stairs all the way around. Then on the corners, I'll put a block with a slab, and on the very top, I will build with some blocks, and I'll place a lantern on top. Now I gotta get down, and there it is. On the ground level here, I'm actually gonna turn this area into our nether portals, so I can finally get rid of this eyesore over here. But I'm not gonna light them up just yet. You'll see why in a minute. Now we have access to this upper area over here, and we have a really good view of what we've built around here. So other than some minor detailing, I want to do one more thing. I'm on my way to my home base. I have something very important to do. Where is Sean? Oh, there you are, Sean. You're coming with me. Alright, Sean, welcome to your new home. I really hope Sean doesn't die in this process. So Sean is going to be our official guardian of the village, and I think he'll enjoy this space a lot better than being surrounded in cows. So if I'm not mistaken, this setup right here should be just fine for Sean. Oh, I think I built this a little too high. He's under the roof now. Let's see if I can get him over here. Okay, nice. Let's put the boat down now, and hopefully he'll get in. And perfect. We'll face him in the right direction, which will be this way, and I kind of want to get him centered in the middle. Give him a little light up here so he's not up here in the dark. And there he is. And don't worry, we can always visit Sean by going up on this ladder here. So yeah, that's about it. I think we've accomplished everything we wanted to do for this village, and Sean now has a new home. And you can make this your new home by subscribing and hitting the like button, as it took me so many hours to make this video. And yeah, that would be greatly appreciated.